Please call right now. I just got shot.
Anybody have any weapons?
Yes, he just shot me. Please hurry. He's in the room.
Show me your hand.
Shots fired. Officer down. Hey.
What's going on? Welcome back to Kinetic Concepts. On April 3rd, Chicago police responded to a call of a domestic disturbance at this apartment. Based on the dispatch audio, I believe these officers were aware that there was a female inside the apartment who had been shot. Officers located the apartment, and while at the door, they could hear a female inside asking for help. An officer knocks and announces before making entry. I realize that it may be unpopular to critique law enforcement tactics, but we have to be critical of our actions so we learn from our mistakes and ultimately make better decisions that will keep us alive. Let's listen to the body cam.
Please call right now. I just got shot.
Anybody have any weapons?
Yes, he just shot me. Please hurry up. I
He just shot you?
Yes, please.
Oh, you need an ambulance?
Yes, please hurry up and
stay on the line.
I think he shot me in my neck. I can't feel my arm.
Where's your boyfriend now?
He's in the room.
So he's there with the weapon, is that correct?
Yes, he's going to kill himself.
She's saying, please help me. Police, open the door.
Open the door, open. LB, please, LB.
Is somebody in here still?
Yeah, he in there.
Where is he at?
He in the back.
He's in the back?
Yes.
What's he wearing?
Back.
Yes, I don't know what he got on. He just
Are you shot?
What's his
Where
name?
Frank Campbell.
Frank Talbot?
Campbell.
Campbell?
Yes.
Frank Campbell. Frank Campbell, come out with your hands up. It's the police.
How many rooms are back there? How many rooms are back
Frank
there?
Campbell.
What?
At this 3, I think he shot my dad too.
You shot your dad too?
Yes.
Frank Campbell.
There's an adult male down.
Frank Campbell, show me your hands.
Hey, which room would he be in?
He might be in the second room.
On the right?
On the left. On the right side.
Frank Campbell, show me your hand. Fire! Shots fired at police! Shots fired at police! Shots fired at police! Shots fired at the police!
Hands up, you cocksucker!
Show me your fucking hands!
Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Come on, let's drag her up. Marty, you got it.
You don't worry about that.
Marty.
Watch it. You say it. We got it.
Come on.
Then my arm.
Show me your fucking hands! Show me your hands!
Back up. Fuck this. Back up. Fuck it.
Get behind something, Mark.
He shot twice.
There's an adult male, he's like 50s.
There's somebody else down in there.
We don't know yet.
Shots fired at the police. Shots fired at the police.
Watch the walls, boys.
Yes, the city was shots fired at police at 4260 West 14 Drive.
Frank, put down the weapon and come on out.
Once the officers back out of the apartment, they basically hold this position right here for another 30 minutes or so until the SWAT arrives. Once SWAT arrives, they basically assume the same position as these responding officers. If this was a residence or an apartment that was configured in a different way, they probably wouldn't be right up on the door like this. But in this case, they really didn't have any other choice. There's an apartment directly across from the suspects and a stairwell outside the suspect's door that they need to deny him access to for obvious reasons. The officer with the shield is going to be the officer involved in the shooting itself, and he does a great job at communicating with the suspect. The body cam is over 2 hours long, so we're going to jump ahead a little bit.
Alright, man, just drop that gun. Let me hear it fall, bro, and we cool. There's no reason to have it in your hand. We're not here to hurt you. You hurt? Frank? Come on, man. We're not here to hurt you, bro. We just want to get you that medical attention. Do what you got to do. You go have a beer. It's all good. I'm telling you. Just put the gun down. You're good.
I'm lay it down.
There you go. Just lay it down, my man. Just drop it, and you good. Just drop it. Just let it go off your head, from your hand, man. And we're cool. Please, my brother. Please.
Don't shoot me, man.
I'm not gonna shoot you, man. We would already done it. We're here to help you and give you medical attention. I'm telling you, man. You're only gonna hurt yourself if you don't put that gun down. Just put it down. Just let it go. Let it fall.
Again, this officer does a great job and continues to try over the next hour or so to communicate with the suspect to surrender peacefully, but we're going to speed this up to the officer involved shooting.
Put the gun down.
Shots fired. Shots fired by the police. Got a med pack. There should be another victim in there. Watch out.
Blue's coming in.
Blue. What do you got? Up here. Get close off.
Hey. Okay, set out.
He shot at me, so I'm just, observing it.
Okay, wounded? You got him?
Yeah, I got him.
Stepping on the weapon.
Shot him in the chest. Got one got in the chest. Hey guys, it's cool. Let's clear out, please.
You got one, I pulled one out.
I got it.
Guys, I'm going to ask you now to step out.
The SWAT officer discharged his Glock 17 5 times. It's unclear from the report whether the suspect shot himself or not. The suspect in this case didn't survive, but the gunshot victims did. Let's talk about some lessons. I like how the officers were pretty quiet when they were trying to look for the apartment, but even though their voices were quiet, the noise from their radios were pretty loud. I don't know if I've seen a Chicago officer with a whisper mic yet, but those are great if you're trying to maintain an element of surprise. Both these officers did a good job at not standing in the middle of the threshold. Anytime you're responding to a call, you never want to be standing in front of the door. The doorway is one of the most common places officers are getting hurt or killed, even if it means you have to knock on the door and then reposition yourself. It may even make more tactical sense to knock on a window close to the door if the environment only allows you to stand directly in front of the door. I also like that they didn't knock on the door right away, and instead they listened to try to get some information on what was going on inside. This is a great tactic, especially when responding to disturbance calls. I probably wouldn't have knocked and announced here. You know that the female called dispatch saying she was shot and that she was inside the apartment, and it's likely that the suspect is inside waiting for you. Once you're at the door, you hear the female asking for help. At this point, you've met the exigent circumstances requirement to make entry without a warrant, and you know that you're going to be at least opening this door. Check the door, and if it's open it just like they did here. You're not making entry yet. I wouldn't want to knock on this door and give the suspect, who may not know I'm there yet, time to arm and prepare himself. It's okay to reach across the door and open it if you have no other choice, but when the door comes open, you should be prepared and ready for a confrontation. The expectation is that the person who has first eyes into the room can immediately address any problem there might be waiting for you. You should work towards being as ready as possible to address the threat as if there was a suspect standing right here at this moment, or even before the door comes open that far. The officer's body language at the door and inside the apartment tell me that he wasn't ready for a confrontation, and he made a few tactical mistakes that could have been costly. Once this door comes open, you'll see that the officer on the left here has a handheld light in his left hand. I'm a big proponent of using a light even in the daytime because it's a great tool to disorient and distract a suspect. But this officer also has a weapon-mounted light, which we'll see later. Based on the way the officer holds his handgun and the fact that he's still holding a handheld light tells me that he has some bad habits he hasn't tried to break. I really don't like the posture level of the officers at this door. They should be ready for the suspect to come around this corner any second, and neither of them look like they're ready to address that problem. The first option that these officers should have thought of was having the victim crawl to them. It's much better off that you have the victim crawl to you, to a piece of real estate that you own, rather than interjecting yourself into an area of unknown certainty. If the victim is unable to crawl to you, I would then formulate a plan to have her rescued. The plan could have been as simple as, hey, me and you are going to hold coverage and he's going to pull her out. And when you go to execute this, you want to do so by exposing as little of yourself as possible to the unknown threat areas while still being able to hold coverage. Even if someone tells you where the suspect is, don't let that one area draw all of your attention. This officer checks the corner with his flashlight instead of his pistol, which just isn't going to work. At this point, I wouldn't be interested in seeing the suspect at all if I don't have to. These officers are constantly yelling for this guy, and even worse, they're yelling for him to show them his hands. That's the last thing I want to see. I don't think show me your hands makes a lot of sense here, especially when you don't even know where the guy is. I would be wanting to covertly rescue this female and then reassess after that. I know that these officers didn't have a plan, but I'm really not sure what they were thinking here. Maybe the officers saw the person down in the hallway and they wanted to move up to try to rescue him as well. I certainly wouldn't be yelling out for the suspect the entire time so he knew where I was. If they believed that the person that was down in the hallway was dead, which they said that he was earlier, then at that point I would definitely be slowing it down and trying to get my hands on a shield. This officer takes his eyes off the known threat location, which is a real problem. Again, his posture level is not where it needs to be. The officers eventually do perform the rescue, which they probably should have done pretty soon after opening that front door. But either way, they back out of the apartment and they hold this position here. You could spend hours critiquing any little part of this video, but I just want to try to hit some of the main points. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and we'll see you on the next one.
Shots fired, shots fired. Officer down, I am hit.